Wow, morning YouTube. East Coast Preppers asked for our cooperation really. He's not running a competition, but he's asked three very simple questions, which is make a video response to what are you going to do when the electricity goes off, when the mains water stops, and when the gas, you know, propane gas and maybe gas for your cars runs out or isn't as readily available. Now I've got stockpiles like most people, you know. I've got 1,000 litres of diesel, 1,000 litres of drinking water put by. We've got our food preps in the house, but I think something that we're not thinking about, I haven't seen any preppers do anything on this, is that we're always talking about what we're bringing into our homes to long-term store, you know, to get through an SHTF or WROL type situation. What I want to talk to you today about is what we're going to take out. You know, once the mains water goes off, what are we going to do with you know, going to the lavatory? Suddenly the sewers aren't going to be taking our waste products away. You know, sewers will be overwhelmed as soon as the power goes out and the sewerage stations, you know, stop working, because mostly they run on electricity. Then I'm sure the sewage system's going to start to back up, and it's going to start to back up for millions of people. You know, in America, I think it's something like 38 million people have got their own septic tank on their property, so they're not connected to any main sewerage system, you know. And a septic tank pretty much processes your waste on site. But that's not the case for all of us. You know, I'm on a main sewer system, so when the electricity goes off, when the water goes off, then we're going to have a problem with sewerage, and we're going to have it quick. Okay YouTube, when the electricity goes out, when the water goes off, when we haven't got any gas or propane or fuel for our vehicles, this is where I come, same as everybody else. Only I'm here for a slightly different reason. This is a downstairs toilet. This is where the family are going to come to do their business. In that cistern is a gallon of water. If you pull that lever, you must think about it in context. What I'm doing is I'm flushing away a gallon of good drinking water. This is clean mains drinking water. Comes into the house through a bathroom or kitchen. This is where the main supply pretty much first hits your house. If I pull that, what that means to me is that I can't have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, I can't wash, I can't shave, I can't do anything for 12 hours. That's half of my entire water supply for a 24-hour period. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a home composting toilet. The way I'm going to do that is to just keep the good old-fashioned convenience of the toilet, but I'm going to put a bag in there. Okay, there's my bag. So now we're not flushing our waste, we're collecting our waste. Okay, here it sits. This is our home composting kit, if you like, and with no gas, no electricity and no water, this is how we're going to process the family's waste. This is what's in the kit then. Got a pack of just good old-fashioned wood shavings. That's just enough to get us started. Got 2 cage containers. No relevance in the colour or anything like that, it's just good old-fashioned, you know, whatever came along, you know, for nothing or the right money. And 1 large empty bin. Grass cuttings and just brown carbon garden waste. Next thing we're going to... Okay, this is the rest of the kit. This is a portable toilet, the sort of thing you could take camping, and it's got a very tight sealing lid, which is great. The other thing you're going to need, I've just used a plastic tub with a tight fitting lid but this is your sawdust. Very simply, what you're going to do is we're going to put this in the toilet. You're going to go and do your business. You're going to take a handful of sawdust. You're going to sprinkle it over the top. Once it's covered, it won't smell. For the guys amongst us, a real big bonus with regards to composting toilets is that you try and separate urine from your stools. Okay, that's how we're going to cope with the urine from the guys. So a heavy duty plastic container with a funnel, put the lid on, suddenly no smell. We've got our composting toilet. What we're going to do is bring out the portable toilet. We're going to empty it into the compost bin. On top of it, we're going to put 60% of green garden waste, which is nitrogen, and 40%, which is just old leaves or anything brown, of garden waste. It all goes in. Then we're going to give it a good stir. Compost needs to be damp. If it's wet, that's a bad thing. It needs to be, if you imagine perhaps getting a tea towel, putting it in some in the kitchen sink underwater until it's soaking wet, wring it out. That's how wet your compost needs to be. So too much urine is a bad thing for compost. Too dry is a bad thing for compost. The compost is going to sit there and bubble away at twice the ambient temperature. The core temperature of your bin is going to be over 100 degrees. Okay, that's the portable toilet from home, and that's human waste. That gets transferred into the big bin. The big bin is our home composting. In there goes our human waste, goes our food scraps, goes 60% nitrogen, which is anything green, so your grass cuttings, any pruning that you do in your garden. 40% carbon, so carbon is anything brown. Don't put meats or oils in this compost. If you do, the chances are you'll start getting infested with insects, and it will attract animal interest. Once that bin is full, this is where I bring it down to my allotment. It'll sit, I'll turn it over every month probably, tip it out on the ground. It will take the shape of the bin as it rots down, so tip it out, rake it over, and then put it back in the bin. What's called a 22-inch temperature probe, which is just like a big spike with a thermometer on the end, and you dig it into the compost. It will give you the central temperature, but it will be in excess of 100 degrees. This is how I'm going to get rid of our human waste from the house. So this is what our waste will break down into. You know, this is just good old-fashioned compost. Human waste will break down in exactly the same way, and this is what it looks like. That compost will go on my crops, which will grow. I'll take home and I'll feed my family. No waste. Okay, so if we've got no water, no electricity and no gas, no fuel, I guess we're all cooking on wood burning stoves. If we're cooking on wood burning stoves, we need to collect wood. The way I'm going to do that without any gas is my cycle and my cycle trailer that I've just built. Trailer is good for about 25-pound load, so I guess backwards and forwards to the woods, or if I'm stupid, find a wholesaler, a garage, a garden centre and buy it. From my wood I'm going to get sawdust, which I need for my combustible toilet. From my wood burning stove I'm going to get ashes. Ashes are just as good as sawdust. There's the ash I can use from my wood burning stove. Okay, so all of that happens then because the water went off, because the electricity went off, because we didn't have propane to cook on, or we didn't have fuel for our vehicles. But it's still not unsurmountable. You know, it's just a matter of changing the routine. They're not big jobs. You know, what you need to do is empty the fetal waste out of the container once a week, put it in the composting bin. I reckon the composting bin will need to be taken to the allotment every 2 or 3 weeks, where it will be long-term stored, you know. So I think it's going to take 12 months to break down into good compost that I can put on the crop.